Okay, so this is now February 26, 2021. This is the beginning of my next video. I haven't started on my next video yet, okay? And this is like in comments to, will Sierra ever get justice? And so what we've got here is, you know, a subscriber making comment, right? And then I answered back. We'll just read it, okay? Hey, Miss Judy, missed you. I support you all the way. Justice for Sierra and justice for Shimei. Honey, they will get their justice one way or the other. Know that they walk with you every day. I find that comforting. Thank you for saying that. I do appreciate that very much. May the people that done this to your beautiful daughters be in full misery, and I hope the both of your daughters hunt them to the point to where they don't sleep at night and they will lay there in their beds in misery. I love you, Miss Judy. Okay? So then I gave a heart, and then I came back in a little while later, okay? And I said, we know that before my government takes responsibility for the injury, harm, and untimely deaths of my family, because there's 3 of them there, people, Uncle John, Shimei, and Sierra, okay? As a whole, okay? Deaths of my family as a whole, not to mention who's been injured. They will use their virus as an excuse to finish the job, okay? Because I'm not conforming to what they're pushing on YouTube and everywhere else with their orders and restrictions and the whole 9 yards, okay? I've done my documentation of pre-recorded live streams, in my opinion, that were restreamed under false pretense, which is like a breach of trust under the Criminal Code of Canada that falls under a conspiracy of more than, it only takes 3 people to form a criminal organization. Governments are not immune to that, okay? If anything, you know, they have the temptation to form a criminal organization because they can use tax dollars to facilitate their criminal activity as they write in legislation to prevent people from fact-checking whatever it is that's being dictated to them under tyranny or a dictatorship, okay? They will use their virus as an excuse to finish the job and completely destroy anyone who is left in regards to my family. Okay? Because if I don't conform, people, which I'm not going to, I'm telling you right now, I've said it in past videos, you can't criminalize Sierra, right? Pimp her out, exploit her, you know, ostracize her, criminalize her, the whole 9 yards, people. Keep her homeless for years and years and years and years and years. Use her as an scapegoat so that you didn't do your job in terms of providing proper services to her, right? And to the point where she was lured to her death, okay? And it was capitalized on, people, all right? Okay? This is why I'm doing this, okay? So anyway, I said that, you know, and then I came in and I added in another comment, people, and guess what YouTube staff did? They immediately removed it from when I went to another page and came back in and refreshed the page to read it over, and it was gone. So what, in 3, 4, 5 minutes at best, not even that, 3 minutes, right? Enough to go to another page, come back in and find that it's gone. They completely removed it, and it's because I'm talking about immigrants, people. So before I allow them to just remove it, I'll make the comment on video for my next video, okay? Because this is the issue. This is one of the core issues. You see, my family is expendable when you're in a predator class with a 2-tiered society where the predators use taxpayers' dollars to commit heinous crimes at the expense of exploiting vulnerable families. One by one, pick them off here, pick them off there, right? Gang stalking, right? Targeting individuals, right? The whole 9 yards, okay? It's nothing new. Anyway, I came in and I said, wow, comments being deleted again. Make mention how government uses immigrants to replace Canadian-born people under a 2-tiered predator class. and the predators go mad, as in crazy, because they don't want the public, the human beings that are just your average folk, knowing about how the predator class is slowly but surely picking us off one by one, right? And because we're easily replaceable people, right? You know, they've got in all these care homes, people, the majority of the workers, 95% of the workers, they come from like freaking the Philippines, you know, India, and places in Czechoslovakia. A large majority of them can't speak English, if at all, people. And they're in positions of power, right, and seniority, because they went to school in their country, and somehow they came over here and they got a green light to work under a visa, and, you know, because us Canadians don't want the job, right, and that's the excuse, right? Shimei wanted the job, but you see, they didn't want Shimei on the job, people, because Shimei would have been a real whistleblower, and they don't want the whistleblowers in the system, okay? You bring in the immigrants, they're not going to jeopardize being sent back to their countries, never mind going back being gang-stalked by their previous employer if they talk, okay? They got them by the you-know-what, right? So they're going to do as they're told. Because, one, they want to stay in Canada and have the Canadian dream, right? Because somehow they're better than everybody else because they're working, right? You know, they're working hard, cleaning up diapers all day long, when in fact the government shouldn't even be using diapers with 3/4 of these elderly, and should be having employers, the employees, walking them to the toilet. Maybe there would be less transmission of disease if elderly actually got a chance to sit on a toilet versus having their diaper changed. Right? Just saying. So anyway, I made a comment in reference to right? They're going to use their virus, people, to destroy the rest of my family for what they haven't already destroyed. That's their ticket in the door. Okay? It's coming. Maybe not right now. But, you know, they're coming in with their mass vaccination, saying everybody's going to get it. This is what they're talking on their YouTube as they're doing their pre-recorded live streams and restreaming them out to the public. Okay? Right? So you don't think I'm not listening? Right? As they pit society against each other, like worse than conquer and divide. And I do believe that some ethnic groups, okay, within maybe not the whole ethnic, we'll just use Punjabis, for example, because I live in Surrey and there are over 350,000 Punjabis living in the district of Surrey, which is more than 50% of the total population of Surrey. They're probably pushing 60% of the total population of Surrey in terms of an ethnic group. I do believe that within that 350,000 and more are not all going to get the vaccine, people. They're going to say that they did, but they're not. They're not. I don't believe it. I don't believe it, people. No, because they got too much money. They can buy their way out of it, right? You understand what I'm trying to say here? Okay, but they're going to come off like they are because their pastor in the temple told them so, even though none of them can go to the temple and socialized, right? Right? Because they operate under a beehive mentality. They're like the Borg, right? If they get it into their head and they want something, they're gonna get it, okay? That's fine. It works good for them, right? So they're not gonna jeopardize their wealth out here, people. They're not. Right? So they're going to say that they're going to take it, but not each and every one of them is going to take it, especially if they truly know that it's an analog, kind of similar to something like being manufactured in a realm of a fentanyl in a lab through a chemist, and that it's all experimental, right? Whether, how they interpret that in the Punjabi language, I don't know. I just know that I honestly do think that there's going to be quite a few of them that will simply bypass this. You're going to take the shot, because it's a global thing, right? I don't believe it, people. I don't. I believe that there's going to be certain individuals in British Columbia, Canada, that just will say that they've taken it, but they're not going to, because they're not going to want to sign up for that experiment, human guinea pig experiment, because this is what it is, right? It's just the government doesn't tell it to you like that, because they're selling you a product, right? They're the frontline pushers to a product that's being manufactured, God knows, in some other fucking country, under different laws, under different languages, under different agendas, right? Through the sponsorship of Bill Gates Foundation and big money, the Rockefellers, and, you know, those eugenic groups that want to, you know, promote sterilization, you know, depopulate, or at least, you know, bring the population down to a level where it's sustainable, as they bring in transhumanism and robots to replace people's positions of employment. And just, I don't have to get into it, because people in the know already know what's up, right? So, you know, but the thing is, the predator class, they actually feed off of the human class, okay? The underclass, right? And, you know, once the supply, and I've said this before, people, once the supply is kind of used up, right? And that's why there's so many of young Canadian-born people within certain ethnic groups are dying in large numbers all across everywhere, but in particular right now, British Columbia, Canada, 1,700 of them, the majority of them probably Caucasian, Native, and Black. Okay? You might have a few South Asians in there, maybe, and you might have a few Chinese in there, maybe, but the majority of them are the ones that were actually immigrated into the country long before the Asians, South Asians, or whoever immigrated into the country, en masse, that is. Right? Because now it's en masse. Right? It's not just a trickle in, it's like a freaking 15 airplanes at one time. And apparently, they don't have to quarantine. No. But if you're Canadian born, coming back from a different country, you have to quarantine and pay $2,000 for that quarantine, on top of anything else that they're going to tack on, as you're basically being treated like shit in your own country. But the immigrants coming in to work, no, I'm hearing, I'm reading, I'm listening, they're getting a free pass, people. They get to go to their own homes or sponsors or wherever they're going, and a lot of them, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them are bypassing what Canadians are having to go through. Well, it's the same fucking shit when you're being targeted in your own country and you're just watching your loved ones die. Okay? Right? You think they're going to stop with what they've started already, people? Especially if I'm not going to bend over backwards and say, sure, stick me with your needle, kill me some more, right? No, you can't criminalize my daughter all these years, hold her against me, make it so hard for me to help her, right? Or anyone in her position, make it so hard as a community activist for me to be able to even help my own daughter, as you criminalized her and did all this and held her illness against her. In fact, it was your illness that you flooded with the community in terms of, well, I'm like, where do these needles come from, people? Who's paying for that? Government. They had them out fucking free. I wonder why. You know, keep the junkies happy, right? Now they're just paying for even more needles. They don't care. They don't work for this money to pay for these needles. They just want the end result of what those needles can produce. This is what I'm trying to tell you, right? And people are just flocking to it. So they say. Some of them, oh yeah, I went and got my shot, but I don't think so, people. No, they're going to take a back seat on it because it's a predator freaking two-tier society. The predators are going to take a back seat on it, while the ones that are being preyed upon are going to get the forced, right, and have their lives destroyed, because at the end of the day, it means nothing to the government to replace us, because they've already got fucking boatloads full just waiting to cross the water and put their foot on our shores. And some of them will be predators. The ones that will be harvesting the organs in the hospital positions that they get into because they're qualified doctors. They went to school in the United Emirates. They know what they're doing, right? They're in with the network, people. Okay? Those ones, you think they're going to go off and get a shot when they're too busy fucking milking the environment to get rich? They come here to get rich. They don't come here to help people. They come here to get rich. And then there's the other ones that come in that are working, right? The grunt workers, right? Just trying to get away from a bad country that's blowing them up with bombs and shit, or whatever it may be. And they will replace my family. And it's just a matter of time before they get preyed upon from that predator class. Because my kind and my children and my grandchildren will be devoured by then. Because we are expendable. Especially if the government is thinking about getting rid of fossil fuel and bringing in battery-powered this and battery-powered that and a battery-powered robot to replace jobs. Well, they removed that comment. I didn't drag it on like that. Right? But why? Why? It's true. It's true, people. It's true. I've lived here long enough. I've seen enough. I've been around enough to know what the hell is happening. The reason nobody is talking out what's going on in these old folks' homes with the elderly hidden away like the government's dirty secret in the tens of thousands, 83,000 to be exact, okay, is because 98%, 98% of the employees that work in those environments come from a different country, with many of them not being able to speak English very well, or if at all. And if they can, they don't want to jeopardize their employment position in Canada, because for some reason they seem to think that they're going to get rich, have a house, and live in peace and liberty as long as they listen to the government. So if the government says, you take the shot, they're going to take the shot. Unless, of course, they get a free fucking pass and bold-faced lie up in other people's face saying, oh yeah, I got it. When in fact they didn't. Because, you know, there's always those backroom deals going on, right? The more money you have, the bigger the backroom deal, people. So, since YouTube wants to remove my comment, I did a little video on it. Okay? Because it's nothing I haven't already said in the past, because it's just being ramped up even more now. The immigrants are still coming to Canada. It's just the Canadians are dying in larger numbers now because we're expendable. We're not needed. If they can't control us, and even when they can, we're not needed, people. There's no value. The value is in the teeth, the eggs they can harvest off of the young women that are dying en masse in the province of British Columbia, Canada, because it opens up CRISPR technology to start splicing and dicing those eggs with this, that, and everything else under the freaking sun, all right? You know, experiment this and experiment that. They can't do nothing unless they have eggs to experiment with, people. They can't go get that from no cow or a pig or a freaking camel. They want human eggs. Women aren't just going to go off and donate their eggs at some clinic just so that the government can experiment and God knows what they're going to do. But that's the kind of times we live in now, people. Right? It's already being documented that China is trying to build in, and if they already have people with the CRISPR, the super soldiers. They're leaking it out. They're already here, people. This is why half our cops are fucking crazy now. Because they've been altered. So anyway. Hold on a minute. Okay, so let me finish this. As a matter of fact, I think I'm just going to upload this as is, okay? Keep it separate, because this is YouTube shadow banning me again. Right? I mean, like, right? It is what it is, people. But, you know, it is the truth, though, right? Having my family disappear and capitalized off of, in terms of Uncle John made people rich because they stole his money. Shimei made people rich because they illegally harvested her organs and sold them on the black market, including her teeth. Sierra made people rich, same thing, in addition to maybe a SNUFF movie. Maybe, like I said, he walked out looking at a cell phone, okay, if you watched my last video, right? And when he gets down to the bottom of the stairs and he faces the street, he's holding the cell phone. That's why I know it's the cell phone, not to mention it reflecting off his freaking glasses. As he's smiling and smirking, doing hand signals. Because he's looking up on the streets with the cops up there, saying, hi, like, I'm thinking, what, you happy you got it? No, we got it, we got it. What did you get? What were you looking at that made you so happy? Considering the circumstances at hand, right? We're nothing to them, people, okay? Because all they have to do is put their order in with the Philippines, and you'll have 10,000 workers willing to do anything the government will tell them to do, and stay quiet on it. And that's why there is no justice for the old people. Because everybody's thinking about themselves before they're thinking about the old people. They want to secure their riches in Canada before they would help the meek and the most vulnerable. Because for whatever reason, they don't think it's going to happen to them. Right? But the majority of the ones being exploited right now in terms of these elderly are the ones that used to be government workers that have good pension plans that the government just wants to kick off and save money on paying out. Right? Well, a lot of those family members to those old people are going ching 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 ching, ching like an Eleanor ching 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 ching. You know, I just can't wait until they're gone because I get that superannuation or I get their inheritance and you know and oh yeah, all I have to do is just pay out a few bribes and it's all mine, right? So you know, this is no way to live a life, people. This is no way every day in fear. Every day, because every day the government is coming a little closer with their virus, just a little more closer with their virus. They're coming to get you with the virus, right? And because you don't want to go in line with their old okie dokie, you become the criminal, just like Sierra was the criminal for doing what they wanted her to do initially, right? And now that you don't want to do that, because you don't want to be like Sierra, you're still a criminal, people. Like they're masters at criminalizing people. Doesn't matter if you do, and it doesn't matter if you don't. You're still a criminal. Because you're expendable. That's why. Unless you've got lots and lots of money to secure your lot in life and buy yourself out of being from an experiment or fish food. Lizard food, dog food, whatever food they're freaking propping up with DEAD bodies. Because they're doing something with these bodies. There's too many of them, people. I have never seen so many people die in all my life as I have in the last 10 years. I'm telling you. I am so telling you. Every month, somebody that I know through the grapevine is dying. Every month. Every month. So many young people. But you see, that's okay though, right? Doesn't matter because they can get twice as many, 10 times as many, 1,000 as many from another country that will pay to come here, pay more rent, pay more money to go to school, pay more for the Canadian dream, which, at the end of the day, I don't know, people, puts my family at a greater risk. Because we're just a commodity, and YouTube wants to just smooth it over. Well,